Welcome back, everybody, to more from the Stabilize. I'm here today with Jordan. How are we doing, Jordan?
Very well, thank you.
That's good. Today we've got Ultra Necrozma versus Reshi Charizard, the Greens version. I'm under strict orders this time. I'm not allowed to get upset at ReshiZard. The first time we played it on the channel, I spent a long time complaining about it, and I think I still won the set, so I probably shouldn't be so rude. The deck's okay, but I still stand by the fact that it's very linear. Whereas Jordan's playing one of the decks that's got the most flexibility in the entire format, that's Ultra Necrozma.
And unlike the last matchup you played with ReshiZard, I feel like you're significantly less likely to win this matchup because Ultra Necrozma is one of the decks that I feel like ReshiZard struggles against. But at the same time, I think that the Greens build is the best build for trying to beat Malamar decks.
Yeah, so we've got potential here, but it could fall apart very quickly. And, I mean, I've got a full house here, so people that are watching can see I've got 3 and 2 of the same card, and neither of them are particularly useful, so we'll just wait and see. At least I went first.
Yeah, that's why you went first. You can... I mean, obviously, it's not the worst idea to go second with that deck either, because you can get off the turn 1 acceleration with Flare Starter, but hey, it's not the end of the world if you can't pull that off. You can still get
okay.
Welder or something along those lines.
I don't think I'm in any rush to get a welder here, Jordan. That's literally.
Well, what if I put a Viridian Forest down for you?
If you put a Viridian Forest down, I would absolutely love that. That would be the single greatest thing that you could possibly have done. Yes!
Oh, there you go. I've done it for you.
So I got 3 welders in my hand. No energy.
Well, now you've got 1.
I've got 1 energy.
If you top deck a Fire Energy, I'd be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. Like, I mean, I don't particularly want to have to get rid of the other 2 cards that are in my hand, because I like those as well, but it'll be okay. I'm going to be able to do something.
I imagine so. I mean, as well as your turn 1 being not too good, you can kind of fall behind a little bit with setup in this deck, and if you get the healing cards you need at the right time, it's not that big a deal to have a slightly slower start, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the thing that I'm going to really struggle with here is Ultra Necrozma actually has just really good ways of dealing with this deck. Like Reshi Charizard struggles to deal with Ultra Necrozma on 2 levels. The first one is Giratina. Giratina's really good.
It is.
Oh man, well I'm going to have to get rid of this Cherish Ball that I've just top decked, that's fine. I'm actually going to Welder to the Volcanion in the active, because that at least guarantees me something to do this turn.
Yep, you could even, if you wanted to, attach to the active and knock out my Jirachi with High Heat Blast, but that depends on whether you prioritize taking an early prize or if you use Flash Starter to start pairing up your Reshi Charizard, which is probably going to be a pretty crucial thing for you to do, if not this turn, then very soon.
Well, I feel like if I High Heat Blast and then get myself into an energy, I obviously have no idea whether I'm going to be able to. But with the Viridian in play, I'm going to be able to get some stuff going. I can attach to the active, or I could attach to the bench and then Flare Starter. My issue there is, the thing that you need to do to win this game is to knock out ReshiZards. And I think actually attaching to this Volcanion and taking a knockout is the way that I stop you from knocking out my ReshiZard, as weird as it sounds.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, obviously, this deck is playing things like Custom Catcher, so it is still theoretically possible for me to pull off some nasty plays, but I don't think it's very likely ReshiZard's going to be going down anytime soon.
So, well, at least the Jirachi goes away, so you're not going to be able to Stellar Wish to accelerate your board state, but with 3 NKs on the field, and the potential for that particular that deck to really accelerate, it's going to be big trouble for me. And this Giratina putting 10 damage onto the ReshiZard is a big deal as well. But hey, it still requires a Malamar and an attachment to get the knockout with Ultra Necrozma, and then I could at least potentially take a knockout myself. So we'll wait and see what happens. It all depends really on the top deck that I get. If it's good, then it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. Surprisingly enough.
It's definitely pretty annoying for you to knock out my Jirachi, because it's going to make it a little awkward for me to find the cards I need, such as Malamar's this turn. And I've got the Angie I need in discards, mainly just finding those Malamars, and I have used a couple Mysterious Treasures already, so I think I'm probably going to be forced to give you access to another Jirachi here just to hopefully find a Stellar Wish, because right now my hand doesn't even have a support for the next turn. So no Malamars for me this turn, but at least I've found myself access to a supporter, so next turn I'll be able to start attacking. Definitely a little slow, but hey, your start wasn't super speedy.
I've not been I've not been having too flash a start either. Although that top deck is an absolutely bonkers one that turns my hand from a bad one to a pretty solid one. I can get rid of the Bill's Analysis to attach 2 Fire Energy, so just happening to top deck that Fire Energy is really quite huge.
It's not even that unlikely to say. It's like, oh, I top deck a second Custom Catcher or something. No, you just drew a Fire Energy.
Yeah, just a Fire Energy. Well, it means that attachment is easy to get, and now next turn I'm going to be able to take a knockout if I get the opportunity to. Now let's think. Oh, I've got... I'm just trying to figure out what the likelihood is of you taking a knockout next turn, and it's frustratingly high on that Ultra Necrozma.
High. All I need is 1 card, realistically.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm just going to go and knock out this Jirachi and presume that you don't have enough to kill the ReshiZard.
Oh, the ReshiZard. That one's significantly harder.
It's much harder. No. The Volcanian's gone. I've resigned myself to that. You just need a Malamar.
I don't actually have what I need to kill the Volcanian this turn. I still haven't found a Malamar, which is a little concerning.
That is frustrating.
But I'm fairly confident I'll find one pretty soon. Hopefully right now. But
I'm sure you'll be able to get one off of this Lily for 3. I'd be very surprised if it doesn't work out.
I mean, it hasn't worked out yet. I'm a little worried.
Okay. Oh,
wow. I have to detonate a whole bunch of stuff away to try and find my first Malamar this game. But we got 2, so it kind of worked out.
There you go. So you've got access to it. But this means that my prizes are mapped a little bit nicer than they would have been before. So yeah, I'm not unhappy about that.
The fact that I had to not only bench the Dene, but also I'm not going to be knocking out your ReshiZard or anything this turn definitely means that I'm going to be pretty susceptible to a big play from you very soon, I imagine.
Yeah, and the good thing about that particular this particular board state for me now is having not used any custom catches, and because of the nature of Green's ReshiZard, an energy and a Greens is all that I need to take a knockout on the most threatening thing on your board, which is obviously Ultra Necrozma. The issue is going to be the fact that you could potentially just come straight in and one-shot me in return. So we'll need to think about the possibility of that. You are able to do... If you get another Ultra Necrozma and a 3rd Malamar next turn, then you're going to be able to do, what, 180, 240, 300. So it doesn't matter if you get the extra Malamar. And it doesn't matter that there's damage on the active, so I won't worry about it at all.
I think your maths was a bit off there, to be honest, Mitch. I don't think Ultra Necrozma can ever do 300 damage.
What have I done? How have I done that? 80. Oh, I've done 60 instead of 80. Whoops.
Yeah, with 3 Psychic Energy, Ultra Necrozma does 260 damage.
260. So it is super critical that I actually do the thing. So.
Of course, that's assuming I don't have a Beast Energy attached to.
Oh yeah, of course.
Bring it from 260 to 290, which is quite a difference, I would say.
It is quite significant. Okay. I'm actually trying to choose here between a Great Potion and a Fiery Flint as my second card, because if I use the Fiery Flint, I can actually set up a second Reshi on the bench. I think that's actually the best thing to do, because you need to knock out my ReshiZard with a an Ultra next turn. I think this is the best way to go. I can Fiery Flint away a couple of cards, get myself some energy. 1 can go onto the active, and 2 can go onto the bench next turn, hopefully. Or 2 can go onto the bench to ReshiZard, hopefully. And then I will use the 2 custom catches, 1 that I searched out to grab the Ultra Necrozma. I'll just GX, and hope that that is enough to keep my active Reshi alive. If it's not, I've got potential to get there, I just have to avoid the stamp.
Yeah, actually, well, the fact that you had to use your GX attack means if I am able to return the Ultra Necrozma, I don't think you'll really have any way of knocking it out, which is kind of unfortunate. But, unfortunately, the Dedenne kind of left me in the dark once again here. I'm not really having anything to work with in this hand, so I'm going to have to get a little lucky. I've got a Lily in hand, which I just top deck, which is nice. But I need to discard some cards that would be pretty crucial, I imagine, potentially getting off the Ultra Necrozma play in the first place. But I'll see what I can
see what you can do.
Figure out.
There's a big old multi-switch play.
Yep, just spinning cards so that I can hopefully get what I need. Let me just make sure the cards that I need are in the deck, and it seems like they are. I just gotta get a little lucky to draw them.
Yeah, the 4 Psychic in the bin and 1 Metal obviously still in deck. The Lily could be big here. Oh, we're custom catchering.
Yep, I got 1 card there, which is actually a pretty useful card to get. I got a Malamar, which is not only a pretty decent card to have, but I actually think it's stronger to use Pokemon Communication, shuffle that Malamar in to get the
Ultra and then Lily for 6.
Yep, because not only does that allow me to draw an extra card, but there's only 1 Ultra Necrozma in the deck, but there's still 2 Malamar. Much more likely to draw into the Malamar once again. So, looking for Malamar and an energy here. And I think I've just barely missed. Because there are actually no basic metal energy left in my deck, only beast energy. So Viridian Forest is not able to find me the attachment I need.
Wow.
That's okay though, because I'm still potentially going to be alright if I can find... No, I don't think I can even find Reset Stamp actually. If I could find Reset Stamp and attack your Giratina, I feel like I'd still be in actually a pretty solid position, because, I mean, what are the chances of you actually getting
something off of the Reset Stamp?
A Welder and 2 energy off the Reset Stamp, plus like custom catches to bring up, or all custom catches to bring up my Ultra Necrozma, because that would also work obviously. But yeah, without this metal energy, obviously I've got the treasure, so I'll be able to get a 3rd Malamar. I'm just missing the manual attachment. And yep, the Reset Stamp was also in the deck. I wasn't super lucky to get it obviously, because I did need to draw the beast energy. But that's alright. I guess I just gotta hope you've got nothing in that
giant hand. Yeah, no, the 10 cards I've got. Well, it's actually, I'm more worried about, it's less the cards that I've got in hand and more the cards that I've got in deck, because all of this theorizing is well and good, but I forgot to check how many custom catches I have left, so I need to double check that.
Well, if they're not prized, I feel like you're going to walk away with a pretty easy game 1 here.
I think so too. They are both in deck, so not even going to grab the energy, because I can just grab green, get 2 custom catches.
Seems good.
And attach, bring out the Ultra, play mixed herbs just for fun.
So mean.
I know, I'm a cruel person. And then Flare Strike. So there you go. And for as much as I bag ReshiZard, the fact that it's got such a linear strategy, sometimes it just works out. Like, you just attack 3 times and you win. So sometimes that just is the way that it is.
And yeah, I mean, you say it's a linear strategy, your only attacker is ReshiZard. You did actually take the first 2 prizes of that game with High Heat Blast, which I imagine was... like, if you still had another 2 prizes left, I think I would have very easily still been in that game. But the fact you're able to get so far ahead before I even set up, I didn't get Malamar until like turn 3, so you're already 2 or 3 prizes ahead before I even started attacking properly.
Yeah, but it comes down to the fact that I think that if both decks draw well, I don't see a way that ReshiZard can come out on top. Because obviously with Malamar drawing well, it is going to create some problems. But, you know, if Malamar misses a beat, and every now and then it does, then ReshiZard can certainly come out on top and get itself the win.
Yep, and the fact that you can just greens for double custom catcher makes it really hard to charge up an Ultra Necrozma on the bench. I mean, obviously I kind of had to go for the Ultra Necrozma in that game early, just because I was drawing a little slowly. I really wanted to try and give myself the best board as I possibly could without ruining myself too much. But in this game, hopefully I'm going to be able to play with mostly Giratinas until Ultra Necrozma becomes a little more necessary. So we'll see how that works out for me.
We'll see.
I've got a pretty decent hand this time around. I can play out most of my hand and then Lily for a whole bunch of cards. In fact, I could even use a Stellar Wish now, hoping to find a Pokemon Search card. This is pretty close to a Pokemon Search card. Pokemon Communication.
Yeah, that is a Pokemon Search card.
It is, and I've got a Cherish Ball, which I can now turn into an Inkay.
A second Inkay. It seems pretty good.
It sure does. In fact, this is actually going to end up being a Lily 8. The last card in my hand is a switch to bring up the second Jirachi.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this is much better than the last game.
Yeah, and this is the thing that I was a bit concerned about. Obviously, you get you get a good hand with Ultra, and you can really do some damage. ReshiZard is susceptible to falling behind to this style of, or this type of speed, but I'm, on the plus side, going to be able to Flare Starter into a ReshiZard next turn, so we should be good to go. Unless, of course, you randomly stamp me whilst I've got 6 cards in hand, which would be very strange.
That'd be strange. I'm probably pretty dumb as well. But,
Yeah, it's unlikely, isn't it?
Yeah, as of right now, though, I would say you're not in too bad a spot. Obviously, if you wanted to, you could even weld this at the active and knock me out. That's probably not the ideal play, though, because the Flare Starter going second is definitely the reason why this deck doesn't fall behind when your opponent goes first and gets a really good setup like this.
Yeah, so I think in reality my 2 best choices are going to be Cherish Ball and Heat Factory here. I've got the Fiery Flint in hand. I don't care if you have Viridian out, so I'm going to burn 2 Power Plants to get a bunch of energy into my hand so that I can trade some away. So it might have been a little bit of a risk to grab 4 there, but I mean I've still got 7 in deck, so even if I draw 3 off of this Heat Factory, I'm still going to be able to attach them to ReshiZard, and I think they're better off in my hand than...
That's not really a risk if you ask me.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I didn't check. There could have been 6 in the prizes. You never know.
There could have been. I don't think there's going to be.
Oh, it was unlikely. It was very unlikely. And I'm going to be able to use a Flare Starter here. Now the question is, what do I want to do with it? I got another Volcanion in hand, so I could potentially put it down, but I think I'm just going to go for the Flare Starter onto the ReshiZard. That's by far the strongest play, surely.
Yeah, if High Heat Blast did just a little bit more damage, I think it would be like a very threatening attacker in this format, but the fact that it only does 110 damage means that it's going to fall short to some of the cards in the format like Giratina.
Well, I mean, I could have potentially put the second Volcanion down, and if you'd put the 40 damage onto your Tina, then maybe taking a knockout if I did get there, but I think it's more valuable to be on the ReshiZard. It means that I don't need to use my GX to knock out a basic Pokemon.
Yeah, if you can save the GX attack for when you desperately need it, like there will be quite possibly a time when you can only get 3 energy onto a ReshiZard and not 4, and then at that point you're going to be very happy that you've got access to your GX attack to knock out a Dedenne or an Ultra Necrozma later on.
Yeah,
or even just a Giratina, like if you have to.
Exactly. The good thing for me in the Ultra matchup, I think, the saving grace for ReshiZard is that Ultra is, of the 3 Malamar decks, the only one at the moment that isn't really playing spell tags. I think if you were playing spell tags, Jordan, I think I'd have absolutely no chance in this matchup from here because, I mean, I'm going to need to take knockouts on this Giratina. The thing that's going to save me is the fact that you'll need to hit it 3 times unless you gust it and then use D-Door. So I think that's the saving grace for me. But obviously,
the spell tags aren't like super crucial because in theory you've got cards like Great Potion and Mixed Herbs that can kind of counteract that spell tag damage. I'd be more scared overall of the potential that your opponent can take a big one-hit KO with an Ultra Necrozma rather than eventually whittling you down with Giratina. But of course, the problem with that is that Giratina is just a really strong card for a prize trade.
Yeah, it's very, very efficient, and we're about to see it here as it comes into the active. And this is the perfect board for facing ReshiZard because, I mean, apart from the fact that you're missing 1 escape board on one of those Jirachis, I think that this is almost the perfect setup.
I'll get the escape board eventually.
Oh, it'll be fine, I'm sure.
I'm not too worried about that.
What are the chances of me being knocked out by a Ultra next turn if I don't put down another basic?
Well, if you don't take a knockout, then it's impossible. So
well, yes, that's true. I could just pass, but that's a bad move. I need to start
if you knock out my Giratina, then I would require a 3rd Malamar, obviously an Ultra Necrozma, way into the active, but most importantly, I would require the Beast Energy.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the most reasonable thing. The reason that I don't want to put down the second ReshiZard, which I've currently got in my hand, is because I don't want it to get D-Dored so that you can easily start taking knockouts on it. So I think I'm just going to take the knockout and hope that massive combo you don't have.
It's really just a matter of do I happen to be lucky and be holding the Beast Energy or not, but I think you're going to be okay. What's actually interesting is I know you were being smart about not benching your Pokemon due to Distortion Door, but my only supporter in hand actually Erica's Hospitality. So
Oh
if
no.
my Jirachi doesn't come in clutch here, then I could be in a little more trouble than you originally anticipated as well.
Erica for one.
I'm going to try and avoid it. In fact, I mean, I'm just deciding now if I want a Viridian Forest. Obviously, it's better to thin cards out of my deck if I can, but at the same time, I don't know if there's any card in my hand that I want to get rid of. I think I should be fine actually to get rid of a Psychic Energy here. So I'm actually going to Mysterious Treasure away Psychic Energy, probably find a Giratina, which I can thin out of my deck, and then discard with Viridian to just trying to thin as many cards out of my deck as possible so that I can Stellar Wish for what
Hopefully
I need.
to a supporter.
To be fair though, even if I miss a support, I'll be more than happy just to get like a switch card that'll allow me to promote my Giratina.
Yeah, that's
as
true.
long as I don't miss any switch card and a supporter, I should be okay.
And that is true.
I got one. I didn't get the supporter, but I'm more than happy to take the escape board here.
Escape
and
board seems
the
perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
I mean, I could even play the Erica for one if I want to. I think I'm not going to do that because there's nothing I really need to find this turn anyway. So, hey, if I'm lucky, next turn I might get 2 cards instead of 1.
Yeah, that's true.
That's some good value.
You might get there. It's interesting because you very easily might.
I mean, at the moment, because obviously you're playing around the Distortion Door quite carefully, it's going to make it a little awkward for Giratina to get a 2-hit KO on ReshiZard, especially since you're obviously playing a deck that involves healing cards. But you never know when I can just randomly, instead of Distortion Dooring, just bench an Ultra Necrozma and take a knockout with that instead.
Yeah, that's true. And you'll notice there Jordan very astutely not putting the 40 damage onto his Giratina, being a real dingus brain. I really would have liked it if you'd done it.
Nice.
Well, it's true. All right, you're a dingus brain, and I don't like it because obviously Jordan knows that I've got healing cards, and I would have loved to have just Great Potioned and used Outrage for a knockout there. That would have been really, really good.
You were banking on me being a little
being silly,
little scrubby there, weren't you?
Well, I was, and it wouldn't be unusual to see people doing that. And it kind of puts me in an awkward position because, I mean, I could very easily just get knocked out by an Ultra Necrozma next turn, but I've got no other attack unless I want to, waste my GX on a Giratina. It might be the most efficient thing to do, but even then I still could get knocked out by an Ultra, which is very frightening. The last thing I want to do is put myself in a position where I can't use my next ReshiZard to knock it out. So I'm going to have to just accept the fact that I've got 130 damage and Outrage here. Obviously, I would have loved to have played a Great Potion, but I just realistically can't make that choice because if I stuff it up, I lose. So I just have to hope that you can't get into the Ultra.
It's not too bad though, because the fact that you chose not to use the GX attack there means that if I do go into Ultra, you can just welder onto ReshiZard and use the GX attack. You won't even need a manual attachment. And so the Giratina right now does not have damage it needs to knock out your ReshiZard. So you know how I said my hand had an Erica's Hospitality in it?
Yep.
Well, the other 2 cards were actually an Ultra Necrozma and a Metal Energy. So,
oh, beautiful. So you've got the knockout.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and take the knockout. I'll see if I can Stellar Wish into a better supporter.
Yep.
It seems like that's a no.
Okay, so you're going to be Erica-ing for 2.
So I'm probably going to be Erica-ing for 2 this time.
Excellent. How about how you got 2? You got 2 escape boards.
Yeah. So there's not, as I said, there's nothing I really need this turn. So I'm kind of just eventually hoping to draw into some better cards for the future. I'm at the point now where I can mostly play without needing to play cards from my hand. My board's good enough that I can kind of play like 1 or 2 cards from hand each turn and then be able to find the rest with Viridian Forest and my Psychic recharges.
Yeah, the Ultra Necrozma engine has become self-sustaining. There's absolutely no issues with it here. Alright, well, I'm looking for a welder. We've got a top deck it. I've seen 1 supporter for the entire game. And it was that greens I used in the first turn.
Yeah, it hasn't played a single welder yet this game.
Yep, so there's a good chance of getting it, because I can get anything from welder to... or just another greens. Okay, no worries.
Greens can get welder.
It can. It can get anything, even a welder. But it cannot get me an attack this turn.
No, this is the turn where you really wish you had something like Surge, which would allow you to green spore the welder and actually play it.
That would be excellent, but alas, it is not going to be. So instead, I'm going to grab the next best thing, which is a welder for next turn and a reset stamp to stop you from hopefully retreating this Ultra. I don't mind if you just attach and knock me out. Not knock me out. Attach and do a bunch of damage. That's fine because I can back myself in to heal it off. I think I just want to give you the least chance of drawing into a way to kill me, and I'm just going to have to hit you with Outrage.
The Outrage isn't super useful here, but it does mean that if I were to attack with you with like a Giratina, that then your Outrage in the future would be potentially strong enough to knock out my Ultra Necrozma. I actually drew a double Custom Catcher off of that stamp, which is
beautiful.
Usually like a pretty crazy card to get off of a stamp to 2, but this is one of the few situations where I could not care less about these double Custom Catchers. In fact, I'm probably going to be using them to draw.
Exactly, and so, but yeah, that's the thing, it's going to guarantee you at least 3 more cards. So...
Yep. So I'm going to be able to use Custom Catcher for 2, and then worst case scenario, Custom Catcher for 1. Right now, if I draw a Malamar and a Switch, I believe I just win the game.
Yep, simply.
I have attached so that Beast Energy won't do it, but the Psychic Energy...
The 3 extra attachments.
Damage then. Oh my god, okay, I drew another Custom Catcher.
Okay, cool, so we're going again.
So yep, we'll only get 1 this time. And this time we get a Supporter. I'm thinking about just playing the Custom Catcher 1 more time to draw another card. I mean, I'm a little scared that I might need to use double Custom Catcher later on in the game, so I might hold it and just Lily for 4.
Fair enough.
But that did not get me into anything good. So right now, all I can do is a little bit of chip damage onto your ReshiZard. And I guess I could Psychic Recharge onto one of my bench Pokemon. I've got 5 Psychic Energy in the bin, so wouldn't hurt to have an Energy on an NK, I guess, just in case something weird happens. Yep. But yeah, it's just going to be a Photon Geyser for 100 damage, which I imagine is going to be instantly healed.
Well, it's not all going to be instantly healed unless I grab myself a second mixed herb. What are we going to do here? I think we're just going to start off... oh, this is really awkward. Because I want to thin an energy from the deck if I can. Because, I mean, I've played 10, but the deck plays more. The only card that I really want to get rid of, though, is another Pokemon. So I kind of lose my out to if things go wrong. But, you know, I guess I'll just Welder first. We'll see what happens off of the Welder.
I mean, you're probably going to be using Welder anyway this turn, unless you wanted to just greens and then GX attack, which, to be fair, is a completely reasonable play as well.
It certainly is. Now, the disappointing thing is that I didn't actually get what I wanted, which was...
Well, that sucks.
Which was another reset stamp. That would have been excellent. I will Pokegear here for another Welder, so if there is another turn, I will be able to do some stuff with it, put a second ReshiZard down. I will heal 50 damage with the Great Potion, and then I will get rid of this Volcanion with the Viridian Forest, and attach an energy to the Reshiram, and I'll just be able to Flare Strike here for knockout. But, I mean, so you've got an out to win the game still. There's not a huge amount more that I could do.
It's, I mean, once again, my hand isn't super strong, but now that I've got a bench space, I can potentially use Giratina if I want to, even though the game I'd rather not do that. But if I do use Giratina, then it doesn't give you an out to winning next turn either, which is nice. And I can then maybe use Custom Catcher to close out the game. But as of right now, I believe that Jirachi has the potential to get me into the guaranteed win. So I'm going to get an energy out of my deck with Viridian Forest, and I'm just going to be hoping to find one of the 2 Mysterious Treasures in deck with Jirachi, and if I do, I believe that would wrap up the game. So let's have a look what we get.
Probably do it.
Stellar Wish. I didn't get Treasure, but I get a Switch, which is going to give me
another treasure.
Second chance for another lucky dip.
So there you go. You've increased your odds to more than 1 in 3 now.
Yep, it's not the best odds in the world, but I'll take it. There's a Mysterious Treasure.
Nice, well there you go.
That's going to do it.
And then we see the other side of the coin with ReshiZard, where the the strategy is so linear that it doesn't give you the options to do what you want to do if you don't draw well. Now, to be fair, I didn't get any supporters until like the second to last turn of the game, so there's that to be said as well. But with enough time, decks can very easily get over the top of it, can't they?
And to be fair, you missed the reset stamp on the last turn there, and if you'd gotten the reset stamp, the chances of me winning the game this turn, while not that low because the Viridian Forest was still in place, so I could have found the Metal Energy, and would have had Jirachi active, so I still would have had a pretty decent shot at it, but there's a good chance I could have missed the game this turn, but you got to ask, even if I missed, would me just going into Giratina again be enough to win the game anyway?
Yeah, exactly, and that's the question that needs to be answered if you want to play ReshiZard.
Wait, did
Wait a minute. What's going on there?
Oh, I might have miscounted.
Oh, cool. Well, we'll go to game 3 anyway because I lost.
Okay, sure. I actually had like more cards I could have played, so I could have gotten the third Malamar there as well.
Yeah, no, that's all right. That's just us making Ultra Necrozma maths mistakes.
Yeah,
well, I accept the fact that I would have.
The beast energy was
going to do it.
Playing the rest of the cards down.
That's okay.
Hey, that's why healing cards are pretty good in ReshiZard.
That's true. But we'll just assume that I lost. I'll go first, please.
Sure thing.
But yeah, it's again. Hopefully, I can get myself a decent start and can start to take initiative in the game, because that's what ReshiZard really wants to do. Is just to take initiative, get in front, and start doing what it needs to do. Now I've actually
just like in game 1 where you had a really strong start. I mean, it wasn't a strong start, but you were able to take prizes before I was taking prizes, so you weren't really playing as much of a... I was playing a catch-up game instead of being ahead and trying not to fall behind. And ReshiZard really likes to be the one in control, kind of applying pressure early and being ahead of the price trade, so that when your ReshiZards do fall to a big attack and your opponent takes 3 prizes, you're still hopefully in a good enough spot to come back.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and get myself into that good position here. I've actually got a very strong hand for the Cherish Ball Heat Factory play, so I'm going to go for it. We'll play down the ReshiZard, I'll put down the Heat Factory, and then we'll burn 1 to draw 3. Those aren't the most amazing cards in the world, but they're okay. And we will sit ourselves with an attachment to the Reshiram.
Yep.
And simply pass from there.
Alright, my hand is significantly worse in this game, I would say. Mainly because I don't have a Jirachi.
That's a problem.
It is. So, I'm just trying to figure out now how many cards I can actually discard from my hand to potentially use a custom catcher to draw cards, because if I can find like a Lily off of a custom catcher, I'd be feeling at least a little bit okay about myself. It's looking like I'll be able to draw at least, let's see, I think I'll be able to draw 1 card off of a custom catcher, which is a little scary.
It's not the best, but it's okay.
Oh, no, I'll be able to draw 2 if I play the switch, which is probably worth doing. I can just put my Giratina in the active, stop you from using like a high heat blast for a knockout next turn. Draw 2 cards. Do we find a Lily? Not quite a Lily, but it's something I can do. Assuming Dedene's in deck, I can grab a Dedenne with Pokecom. Yep, here's my Dedenne bailing me out.
Yep, we're getting out of there. Dedenne is super, super strong. You probably should be looking towards playing this in pretty much everything if you haven't already. Just for moments like this.
ReshiZard.
Yeah, no, but ReshiZard is a bad deck, so I wouldn't worry about it.
That seems fair. Oh man, still no supporter off of the Dedenne. Oh, I mean, no good supporter. I'll play it anyway. Erica for 2. Erica definitely not being the MVP card of this specific game.
No, it's not the best option.
But at least I've got a bit of a stronger hand this game, so I'm somewhat happy to pass it over there.
Alright, no worries. Okay, so I didn't get the top deck that I wanted. I can do a multitude of things here, realistically. Like, I'm not in any pressure here, so I could start just like setting myself up to try and take more knockouts later in the game. Realistically though, I wanted to make sure that I at least use Welder this turn, and unfortunately I didn't get very lucky with my Heat Factory, and so the only way I have of finding Fire Energy is actually Fire Crystal at the moment. So, it's not ideal.
You're not able to use Heat Factory again?
No, I cannot. So I can, well, I mean, I can't Heat Factory and a Welder. Let's put it that way.
Right.
So I'm going to grab Lieutenant Surge off of this Pokegear. So like I can Fire Crystal to grab a Fire Energy from the discard, which I'm going to do. But the question is, do I Welder, hope to find another Fire Energy, but have at least a guaranteed attachment to the Volcanion so that I can start Flare Startering? Or do I like risk it for the Biscuit and try and get a knockout on this Tina? I think I'm just going to play it safe. Attach to the Volcanion in the active, since it's only a Welder for 1. See what happens.
Yep. You can always just use Flare Starter and start charging up your ReshiZard on the bench, because even if you could get off a big attack, it's not really worth taking a knockout Giratina unless it's with a flare attack, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. But I think this is pretty much going to be fine. I managed to get an energy off of the welder, but rather than using it for heat factor, I'm just going to guarantee the attachment and move on with my life, because I like the hand that I've got. I mean, if I get stamped, I get stamped, but I've got a ReshiZard with 3 energy, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and my hand hasn't really gotten much better from last turn. So you're potentially going to have a bit of time to do what you want to do. I don't think it's realistic for me to pull off an attack this turn, but I can at least make my board a little better. And I could, to be fair, I could go for an attack if I wanted to. It's just a little bad because I'd have to once again use Custom Catcher to try and draw into a supporter or something.
Yikes, it's no good.
But I can at least get a Jirachi, so if I'm able to draw a switch, I can potentially switch into it, Stellar Wish for a Malamar, and then maybe get off a turn 2 Shadow Impact. So that's pretty much the goal for this deck most of the time, I would say, is aiming for a turn 2 Shadow Impact. I'll be out of Mysterious Treasure. I just really got to ask myself, how heavy do I want to go into this? Because if I have to discard too many Custom Catchers, I'm going to take away a couple of my own win conditions. I think the most I can realistically draw is 1 if I want to leave myself with resources to still win the game. But I haven't played a supporter yet this game, so even if I'm only drawing 1, hopefully I'll be able to get or even just a switch or something. There's a lot of cards I can draw. It'll be able to help me if I'm able to get what I want. So we'll custom for 1. It's giving me the option of which effect I want to use. I've got to use the bad effect.
The bad effect.
Yep. I do have double custom in hand. That didn't quite work the way I was hoping it would, to be honest. I think I'm probably just going to be forced to pass again, to be honest.
Ooh,
because I can afford to discard another custom catcher without kind of throwing the game too far away, out of control. I'll probably just have to let you take first blood here and hopefully use my Jirachi to get something in the future.
Well, that's the irony, is that I'm not actually going to be able to take first blood unless I attack, unless I switch into ReshiZard here. I can with greens, like I can get it. It's just that I kind of muck up a good play that I had going for me a bit earlier on. I'm going to grab a Fiery Flint off of this greens as well as a Welder for next turn, but I'm still very aware of the potential of the stamp to screw me over.
That is one of the weaknesses of this greens build of ReshiZard, is that it's very weak to stamp at specific parts of the game. Unlike the Jirachi build of ReshiZard, which obviously can play Jirachi for starters, and also some cards like Salazzle that helps with its draw power off of stamp, but you do have the heat factor in play though, so even if I were to get stamped, any fire energy would help you with drawing a few extra cards. I wouldn't be too worried about it overall.
Yeah, I'm actually going to use it as well here. Like, I don't necessarily have to, but I'm going to. I'm just debating about whether I put that second ReshiZard down. Again, you're bricking, so maybe a second Erica wouldn't be as strong. But I also don't want that 10 damage to go on it. But you know what? Bugger it. I'm going to put it down. What's the worst that can happen?
I mean, you've got access to heal cards, so if it does end up being a big deal that has 10 damage on it, you can always remove that later on in the game if you choose to do so.
Yeah, that's true. And there's the Flare Strike onto the Giratina, so I take the first prize. Means that my massive Surge play that I was prepared for if you had knocked out my Volcanion is now essentially dead in the water, because by the time we get to the point where Surge is valuable again for me, I'm probably in a dire situation.
That makes sense, but as much as I would have loved to have taken the prize, I am happy to be able to get my Jirachi into the active. I have the escape board in hand, and it finally got me a water card, which is great.
Excellent.
all I need to do now is find a second Malamar, and I should hopefully be able to declare an attack this turn. So I'll play Cynthia, and we'll see what happens.
We will see.
I did have access to treasure in that last hand. It wasn't quite good enough though, because I would have had to discard my custom catcher, and I've only got 2 left in deck. I do believe I'm probably going to have to end up using those at some point in the game. But I actually didn't even get a manual attachment off of that Cynthia, so even if I did have a second Malamar, I don't think I would have access to an attack with Shadow Impact, which is a little unfortunate.
That is unkind. And that's this is the type of thing that ReshiZard really thrives on, is that you've missed a turn, and I'm not missing a turn for the rest of the game. Like, it's just not going to happen. So I'm starting to feel maybe a little bit better.
Now that you've said it's going to happen, you know.
Well, yeah, no, I know, but come on.
Alright, I think I'm just going to have to feed you another Giratina. You don't really want to use your GX attack, and you also don't have access to Flare Strike, so it might be a little awkward for you to take this knockout. I mean, you'll do it if you have to, I'm sure, but if I can force you to spend a resource you're not willing to spend, then I guess it's not the worst thing in the world.
That's true. I'm going to use Heat Factory to draw into some cards. We'll see what I can get at. I've got a bunch of stuff that I can do. Obviously, like I'm playing ReshiZard, there's always stuff that I can do. What am I gonna? What is it that I am going to do though? That's the big question.
The main things I would think you'd be looking to do is to either switch into, even a double switch wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, because then you could use Flare Strike again, or you could go into Volcanion, I suppose, and start pairing up the other ReshiZard, which isn't bad. It sets your board up well, but it gives me more time, whereas you do want to kind of be putting as much pressure as you can. Or of course you could just GX attack. It's not the worst play in the world. You take a prize, you're 2 prizes ahead, and even though you don't have the GX attack, you do have access to Flare Strike again on the following turn, so plenty of decent options, I would say.
Yeah, I'm going to use a Welder to put 2 energy onto the ReshiZard on the bench, because I've got to start getting that powered up. Don't have anything else that amazing to do though, so it might just be that GX attack. It's obviously not the best, but I've got 2 powered attackers now, so I'm not so worried. And Double Blaze puts me onto a nice round number of prizes as well. So if an Ultra does come down, and that's the only thing that's threatening a knockout on any of my Pokemon realistically, apart from Volcanion, which doesn't really matter, as long as I can get into all of my counter catches, then, or custom catches, sorry, I theoretically should be okay to win this game, but it's just whether or not I'm able to unprize the one that is stuck in those 4. Because if I can't get it, then I could potentially find myself stuck.
Yeah, it is a little unfortunate that I did have to put the Dene down. That's going to give you an extra win con that you wouldn't necessarily have all the time. But at the same time, I don't think you necessarily need the custom catcher to win this game, because obviously you've already taken 2 prizes. That's basically the same as you haven't been able to use the Dene anyway.
That is true. But yeah, it's starting to feel a little bit safer here. Like, that turn that you missed means that even though you're going to be able to get the triple Malamar and the Stellar Wish and the attack and all that kind of stuff off, it means that I'm going to be able to take a knockout on whatever I realistically like. Probably just the Giratina and the active if I have to. And the fact that you've also already burnt 2 custom catches makes me feel pretty good as well, because even if I'm unable to get one of my ReshiZards saved, then I should theoretically be able to save the other one.
Yeah, exactly. I obviously had the option of burning my 3rd custom catcher earlier in the game if I wanted to go all in trying to draw my dead hand, and maybe that would have been the correct play in general, but it was only going to be drawing 1 or 2 extra cards, and I feel like now that I've kept those 2 extra custom catchers in my deck, I've at least got a bit of a chance to come back into this game, but it's going to be pretty rough because I'm nowhere near getting close to winning this game. I've got a long way ahead of me still.
Yeah, exactly. And the biggest problem, realistically, is going to be the fact that there are no Psychic Energy left in the bin, and I'm just going to remove all of the damage you just did with that Giratina because I don't like the idea of it.
Seems good to me.
And then we'll just custom catcher up the Dedenne. I'll just take the prizes whilst they're there. I don't think I'm going to do anything else in my hand apart from get rid of the Lieutenant Surge. Getting rid of the Surge now because it's not useful at all, so there's no point in having it. And I'm going to save all the other cards that I've got in my hand because they could be more useful a little bit later on. The only one that I'm considering playing might be like a Fire Crystal to get my energy back, just to guarantee the 4th attachment. I think I might do it because that's much more valuable than missing it. I don't want to miss that attachment and end up losing the game because I don't have an energy. So we'll do that now.
The Radiant Forest being in play means you're not realistically going to ever miss an
Well,
attachment.
that would be true if there was energy in deck, but there wasn't, so I needed to do it.
I'd say the Fire Crystals are pretty decent play then.
Yeah, ironically, going on and unprizing the fire energy means that it wouldn't have mattered, but who cares?
Well, yeah, now I'm in the position where I feel like it's you can almost call that checkmate because you've got 2 prizes left, 2 ReshiZards in play that are fully powered, which means I'd realistically have to get a one-hit carry with a non-GX, I think, to be able to have a chance of winning the prize trade here.
Yeah, the only way that you can take a knockout on this ReshiZard is with an Ultra with a Beast Energy and 3 Psychic, but obviously putting that in the active means it gets killed by the other one, so there's not much realistically we can do.
I believe the writing is on the wall. I can see if I can probably like knock out one ReshiZard and like stand you to 1 or some weird shenanigan like that, but ultimately I don't think that there's any win condition that ends with me winning the game other than maybe deck out. I don't think that's ever going to happen either, though.
Well, 12 turns would mean that I'd have to have been Hypnosised 12 turns in a row.
That's a lot.
And since you've already got 3 NKs down, the likelihood of the Hypnosis coming out is pretty slim.
I mean, I could always bench a 4th one and take away even more of my win condition, but to be fair, I don't have any win conditions anyway, so I don't think it'd be too much of a difference anyway.
No, that's true.
Yep, we'll Shadow Impact. I'll pretend that I'm still in this game.
No worries.
Half hit the active, and then you can attack and effectively win the game. How's
Beautiful.
that
And
sound?
since you put the 40 on there, I get the Great Potion and Outrage, which is sweet.
Yeah, the damage on the ReshiZard doesn't matter, unfortunately, because even if you didn't have the Great Potion, I wouldn't be able to knock you out with Giratina and knocking you out with Ultra Necrozma. I mean, it's just as easy to do, but you've got that ReshiZard on the bench ready to go, so no matter what I do, you're going to be able to do 230 damage to whatever I leave in the active position next turn, and I have a feeling that Pokemon, whatever it's going to be, has less than 230 HP.
Yeah, and this is one of the weaknesses of Malamar when it comes to the big hitting GX decks. Unless you're playing Tina Chomp, which is 270, some of the Malamar decks can kind of be a little bit frail. When they work, they're really, really powerful, and I still think that Ultra is the better deck, but like we said, if you miss a couple of turns with Ultra or even Tina tags, you find yourself in some really bad positions where there's just nothing realistically you can do.
Yep, and here I am, finding my last possible win condition, which is 11 turns of sleep, even though you have many mixed herbs left in deck, I believe.
Yep,
I don't think
and
there's a single one in the discard. Oh no, there's two.
There's 2 in the discard. All I've got to do is find one of them, and I've got a switch or so left as well, so...
I could hope that your last switch and one of your mixed herbs are both your last prize card, but hey, at least I want to flip.
That's true.
And there it is, healing the last damage that I dealt. Oh no, it's only for the 1 effect. I forgot you could do it for just the 1 effect.
Yep.
Man, you didn't even have the double custom catch that reflects and heal all the damage.
I didn't. It was my last prize. Oh, there we go. Look at that. That's the most damage I've ever done with 1 card before. Like, to ReshiZard's credit, exactly 1,000 damage. That's pretty good.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty good. But hey, it's I know I'm gonna sit here after winning another set and complain about ReshiZard, Jordan, but I still don't think that it's got enough flexibility for a big tournament.
I don't know what you're talking about. You should play the Worlds, and then after you make day 2 at Worlds with ReshiZard, you're not going to be able to bag it anymore.
Can you just imagine, like, in the most remote situation where I make day 2 at Worlds with ReshiZard, go onto the channel and be like, yeah, no, like a top 32 with ReshiZard, but I don't think it's very good.
If anyone could do it, it'd be you.
Yeah, well, hey, we'll see how we go. Anyway, thanks, Jordan, for coming along.
No problem.
We've still got plenty more testing to do, including one more game where I get to complain about ReshiZard. That'll be coming up pretty soon. Thanks, everyone, for coming along. If you like the content, then consider subscribing by clicking the sable line in the middle of the screen. On the left-hand side, we've got some videos that YouTube thinks that you'll like, and on the right, we have our Unified Minds Worlds testing playlist, some critical matchups for you for Washington 2019. Thanks everyone for coming along, and we'll see you all next time for more from the Sableyes. If I wait 3 more seconds, then it's exactly 50 minutes. Bye.